Alright. BloodBarrier. It actually does quite a bit. Currently level 47 Smith, testing out BloodBarrier because Path of Exile leaves a lot to be desired currently, and I get my fun through tinkering. And this is a very interesting shield. Inflicts corrupting blood for 5 seconds on block, dealing 50% of your maximum life as physical damage per second. That is quite a lot. For reference, Corrupting Cry, the current most popular and I think the only other means of doing corrupted blood besides like blood boil, uses 25% of strength. Now, I believe from what I've seen from Skadoosh, higher end Corrupting Cry builds get to like 600 strength, and so that's 25 times 10, so 250%. But it's a fourth, so it's not quite the same. But then this scales off life, and life can reach, if you're scaling it well, and if you use things like 50% max life and the 20% increased strength plus strength modifiers plus the stuff on your gear, that can get up to like 5k, even like 10k. That's a fairly reasonable amount. And so this one has some decent scaling potential. Now, there is one thing I want to mention, especially because I don't want to mislead people into going down the Smith path. I don't think Smith is the best option, even if you can min-max it with max life, simply because there's a lot of issues that go along with it, such as having to rely on block. It took that person a couple seconds. Now, I can parry, but I have to wait for them to hit it, and then that also builds it up. That's batting crowds. So you kind of want to build passively. There's also the issue of someone like this. Okay, well, that was a bad example, but that spell right there, I couldn't block that one. So sometimes you're not going to be able to parry people, and especially like in larger crowds, it's going to be a little annoying because you just kind of got to hold it down. And so you could build into that. Funnily enough, body armor grants 100% increased stun threshold. That's very nice. It's like stuff like this, 30% increased stun threshold. You can go into that. But I do think, especially because the issue with the parry and relying on that for block, and especially because this item has such a low base block chance, it's gonna be better on Warcaller. Warcaller is the one you'd go, simply because it has the node that turns the base block chance to 40%, which makes this much more consistent, and it also has Turtle Charm, which makes it so that you can block everything. And so it kind of turns it into a walking simulator. And that's what you'd want, especially while mapping, because if you're maxed out on block, 75% chance, maybe you get the anvil to get an extra 5%, I believe, then you can just walk through maps. And so I think that's the more ideal part. The only thing is that I think for bossing, the parry is going to be like much more reliable because it's a 100% guaranteed chance. So you'd lean on the parry for bossing. But in those scenarios, because obviously bosses can't or usually won't do a series of blockable attacks in a row, it's going to be much less reliable. I also do want to note for people who are like, okay, no way you're going to be able to block 10 times in 5 seconds. When you re-inflict Corrupting Blood, it redoes all the debuffs on the person, so you end up refreshing. So as long as you block every 5 seconds or so, the Corrupting Blood of the last block you did will be right back up. So this is a super interesting unique that I do want to go more into. Unfortunately, I will need to create a Warcaller, because after, futzing around with Smith for a bit, I'm seeing the strengths and I'm seeing the issues with this unique. But there's potential here, and I do want to follow up on this when I got time. But I hope this was informative for people looking to, like, play around with this.